Hey guys, I'm here in Yellowstone National Park, and this little area is called Mud Volcano, and probably my favorite hot spring or geyser or whatever you want to call it is right up here. It's right up here. It's called Dragon's Mouth, and it's a cave, and it kind of breathes in and out, and it's pretty awesome. So looks like a dragon lives in there. I like that one. It's really fun. Just hear that noise and the waves splashing out of the cave and all the steam and mist coming out. It's pretty cool. This particular spot's called Mud Volcano. It has some of those muddy kind of bubbling pits and then different formations around here with hot springs and sulfur gases coming up out of the ground. There's bison footprints all through here because there's some big meadows around and there are a lot of bison around. So there's some of the bubbling mud down there, those muddy pits. Mud Volcano. We're still in that mud volcano area, and this is called Sour Lake. I don't know if you can see it on the camera, but it's just bubbling and churning all through. This is fresh water, but inside of it are all these sulfur springs and hydrothermals or something like that. They just keep bubbling up through the bottom. So it sours the water with that stench and just turns it into a big carbonated pond, really. It's pretty interesting. See that bubbling, boiling surface. This mud volcano area with Dragon's Mouth and all these different cool pots are pretty interesting, just with all the churning muddy water, cauldrons just boiling. It's pretty interesting. It's also interesting how they change over time. So 100 years ago, 30 years ago, 10 years ago, each one might have been doing something different, throwing water out onto the trees or just bubbling a little or perfectly calm. You never know what's happening underneath the Earth's surface and what might change it with earthquakes and everything. So if it moved, it says this bubbling cauldron moved about 200 feet to the southeast. That means it was probably back over there somewhere. Let's see, southeast, coming there. So it was back over this way somewhere. And it just gradually moved over to where the central bubbling cauldron is down over in here. Kind of interesting how it'll shift underneath the ground where the pressure's going to be, and it'll come up in different spots and change locations over time and how much it explodes and so forth, depending on how things change underneath the surface of the earth. So pretty interesting, this whole mud volcano area. There's a whole bunch more boardwalk, but I'm running out of time. The sun's starting to set, so I got a long drive home. So I might film one more time down at the bottom. I might go back to Dragon's Mouth and show you that again, and then we'll close up this field trip. This one's called Mud Cauldron. It's the last one down here in the mud volcano basin that I'm gonna look at. It's kind of cool over here. I was gonna show you the hot water coming out of these. It's channeled away, and then it's pooling and coming out of these vents in the parking lot. They've got hot water coming out, hot steam coming out of those vents. So anyway, that wraps up our mud volcano tour field trip. Beautiful Yellowstone National Park. There's so much I could show you, and I've only showed you a little bit, but if you ever get the chance to come here, spend a week or two and come see all the cool places, all the basins and geysers and hot springs and waterfalls and canyons and rivers. It's really pretty. So, see you guys.